Hey guys, it's Sarah with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we have a review and install of the MP Concepts rear blade spoiler in matte black, fitting your 15 and newer Ford Mustang. This is perfect for the Mustang owner looking to add some style to their car and wants a budget-friendly spoiler option with a nice matte black finish. This spoiler features track-inspired styling with a notch design to get you that aftermarket appearance that you're looking for. This spoiler is constructed from injection molded acrylic plastic and features a matte black finish that you can leave as is or paint to match your Mustang. So as far as price goes, this one comes in at around $150, making it one of the most budget-friendly spoiler options for your Mustang. I'm giving this install a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. The most difficult part here is the drilling, which is required for install. All in all, it can be done within 2 hours. So with that said, let's jump into our install. For this install, you will need a rag or microfiber, a drill with 1/8 and 1/4 inch drill bits, a 10mm socket, small extension, a ratchet, scissors, safety goggles, painter's tape, as well as the 3M double-sided adhesive. Alright, so the first step in our install is to make sure your deck lid is clean and dry. If you're using any cleaners, make sure that none of them are oil-based so the adhesive from the wing can stick. Grab a microfiber and just make sure it's free of any dust. Next step, you want to grab a pair of scissors, and we're going to cut out this template a little more, just cutting the excess off this back side here. Since this is towards the back of the car, it's going to help us to fit it a little bit better. Just grab a pair of scissors and just cut along this outside line. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just don't cut the black line itself. Okay, now that we have this piece of paper on the deck lid, you see why we sliced off the end here. This helps us align this black line with the edge of your deck lid. And we're also aligning the edge here on this template with the edge of the deck lid and the fender. Now this doesn't come all the way to the end. You should just make sure that it's evenly gapped side to side and that there's an even gap all the way along here with the edge of your fender. And once you're happy with the fitment, tape it down. We're just going to throw a few more pieces of tape around this template to make sure it holds in place while we drill. We are using painter's tape here, so it's not going to damage the paint. We want to be able to remove this as soon as our holes are drilled. And again, while you're taping, just double check that this template is sitting where you want it to sit evenly around your deck lid so that the wing will sit evenly. Now I'm just going to throw 1 or 2 pieces of tape right close to the hole where we're drilling to make sure the template stays in place. All right, so with our template in place, double, triple check it's sitting where you want it. We're gonna grab our drill with an 1/8 inch drill bit. We're gonna drill through these holes that are marked in each corner. Now I have some eye protection on, especially with anything where you're drilling through metal. I would suggest you put some on as well. So grab your drill with your drill bit. Let's drill through these 2 marked holes. All right, so you'll feel it break through the outer deck lid. You need to go through both layers as well. So go ahead and go back in that hole that you drilled. Make sure that you're drilling through both layers. Repeat that process on the other side. All right, so by the looks of it, our hole lines up with this rubber plug right here. So we're gonna pull it off, and it looks as if we don't need to drill through this second layer here because it lines up pretty nicely as it is. So as long as you have your hole in the outer layer of your deck lid, you should be fine. All right, so now that the pilot hole is drilled, we're gonna grab a 1/4 inch drill bit and just drill out the hole a little bit larger. Now because of the plastic caps that we just saw inside the trunk, we're just gonna drill through this outer layer. We're not going through both. Repeat that on the other side. Now you can remove the template and just make sure you're careful with these metal shavings as they can scratch your paint. All right, so once the holes are drilled and you check fitment with your wing, we can prep it to go on the car. We're gonna attach this 3M adhesive, but before we do that, we're just gonna clean it up a little bit with an alcohol wipe. We do also have rags under each side just to make sure that it doesn't get scratched from moving around a little bit. Go ahead and make sure the edges around where it sits on your deck lid are nice and clean. There's no oils or dirt on there to make it not stick as nicely. Once it's cleaned, we can start to stick down the tape. So we're gonna start right on the inside of the bolt here. I'm just gonna run the length of it. It is curved, so you may have to attach little sections at a time. This does not have to be perfect, but try to get it as even as you can. All right, and then once you reach the other bolt that's sticking up, just measure sort of where it's gonna hit the area, and then with scissors, just cut this off. All right, and then we're also gonna get one small piece that just goes right here. And just work your way around the spoiler. The side's sort of angled, so we may need to just give it a straight edge that might fit a little bit better. It doesn't need to be perfect, but we do want a good surface so it attaches to the deck lid nicely. Don't go all the way to the edge down here because you don't want it to stick out at all or pull up. If you need to trim it back once you make your cut, you can definitely do that as well. Go ahead and work your way down the bottom the same as the top. And again, because it is curved, you sort of have to work with small sections and just stick them down slowly. If you have to trim it back so the adhesive doesn't overlap, do so, because if there is any overlap of the adhesive, it could cause the spoiler to stick up a little bit, and you definitely don't want that to happen. Now, if you'd like, you can double check fitment as is with the 3M. And once you're sure, go ahead and peel back the red side of this 3M so the adhesive is exposed. And we're just gonna peel the small sections all the way off. And the larger sections, we're just gonna start them so that we can peel them the rest of the way on the car. Now, if this does get a little messed up, it is nice that they included some additional 3M in case you have to add some more or redo a section. That is pretty nice. But once all the tape is peeled off, let's get it on the Mustang. Make sure that the deck lid is free of any metal or debris that you might have put on there when you were drilling, and then line up the studs on both sides. Just double check that the corners are lined up here with the edge of the fender. And you can peel back the longer pieces of adhesive and stick it down. All right, so we're gonna get the washer on top of the stud that's coming through the trunk. Now this is a little bit difficult because the opening is not that large, and because this hardware is not magnetic, we can't use a magnet stick. So we just put a piece of tape on the end of an extension and a socket. We're just gonna very carefully get it over the end. All right, so once the washer is over top there, we're gonna do the same thing with the nut, which is a little easier because it sits nicely in the socket. Go ahead and get it started by hand. All right, once we have the hardware installed, we can use a 10mm socket and extension and tighten this down. And we're only using this 1/4" ratchet because we don't want to over tighten this as it could warp the deck lid of your Mustang. All right, now I can repeat that process on the other side. Grab your 10mm socket and tighten it down. All right, so the final step, once our nuts are tight, grab the rubber grommets and reinstall them. Now you can shut your trunk. And that's gonna do it for the review and install of this spoiler. And remember, for all things Mustang, keep it at AmericanMuscle.com.